After the bombs, the world doesn't end with fire. It ends with ceilings, low concrete arches, dripping pipes, and the steady buzz of weak bulbs that pretend the night is gone. In the Moscow metro, stations become little city-states, tunnels become borders, and every breath becomes a reminder that life is now borrowed from the dark. Survival becomes routine, but it never becomes normal. The metro isn't home, it's the last room left in the world. On the far northern edge of that last room sits VDNKH, and something begins to press against it, something people struggle to name. The threat doesn't feel like an animal that can be hunted, it feels like a presence that bends courage and poisons sleep. Guards stare into tunnels that stare back, and rumors spread faster than footsteps. When the lights flicker, everyone learns the same lesson: fear is contagious underground. Artyom carries a quiet guilt that gnaws louder than hunger. Years earlier, he and a friend went up to the surface near the botanical gardens, and afterward, they failed to seal the exit properly. In a world built on locked doors, one careless gap becomes a wound that never closes. Now every new attack feels like an echo of that mistake, and the echo has his name in it. Sometimes destiny is just a door you didn't shut. Then a ranger named Hunter arrives with the bluntness of someone who has already done the math. He says he's going to learn what the Dark Ones are, and if he doesn't return, Artyom must carry a warning to Melnik at Polis. It isn't a heroic invitation, it's a contingency plan written in blood. Artyom agrees, because refusing won't save anyone, and because some part of him wants to be more than a witness. In the metro, a message can weigh more than a life. The day Artyom leaves, the metro changes shape around him. Familiar voices fade, and the next station feels like a foreign country with its own customs, its own watchmen, its own punishments. The tunnels between are the real wilderness, not empty, but listening. Every step forward feels like breaking a rule no one wrote down. He doesn't just travel, he crosses a line. His first guide is Bourbon, a smuggler who speaks the practical language of survival. Bourbon knows which paths stay alive and which paths swallow people without leaving a story behind. He doesn't promise safety, only motion, and motion is the closest thing to hope the metro still sells. Artyom follows because standing still has started to feel like surrender. Underground, hope is never free. Then the tunnels reveal a kind of danger Artyom has no vocabulary for. A psychic force, something carried through metal and darkness, strikes without teeth or claws, and Bourbon dies as if the metro itself has reached out and turned him off. Artyom learns that not everything can be fought with a weapon, and not every threat needs a face. The darkness isn't only what you can't see. It's what you can't explain. A mystic traveler named Khan steps into the story like a man walking through a dream he already understands. With Khan, the metro stops being just infrastructure and starts feeling haunted, like the tunnels remember too much. He treats fear less like a warning and more like a language, something trying to communicate through panic and silence. Artyom listens, even when he doesn't want to. Because the unknown gets louder the more you deny it. Khan brings Artyom to Kaptivates, controlled by gangs, and Artyom sees how quickly people rebuild order out of scraps. Even in a market lit by lanterns, every smile has a price behind it. The tunnel isn't the only predator, power is. You can buy safety, but you buy it by becoming smaller. The metro turns shelter into a contract. Violence arrives not as a surprise, but as a routine, ideology with a trigger finger. During an attack by the Fourth Reich, chaos tears the station apart and separates Artyom from Khan. People run as if the walls themselves are chasing them, and the air fills with smoke and shouted orders. In the metro, certainty travels in packs. And it always carries a gun. Alone, Artyom runs straight into a faction that turns fear into doctrine. He's captured and condemned to death, accused of killing an officer, judged by men who already know the verdict they want. Underground, law is just power wearing a uniform. The tunnel becomes a courtroom with one sentence, guilty. And the metro doesn't care who deserves what. At the last moment, revolutionary fighters intervene and drag Artyom out of the Reich's hands. It's rescue, but it's also recruitment, another faction reaching for him like he's a resource. Every time Artyom thinks he's been saved, he learns he's only been transferred. Survival comes with strings, and the strings tighten quietly. Even mercy can be another trap. The chase leaves Artyom stranded at Paveletskia, cut off from the clean route to Polis. In the metro, geography is permission, and permission is paperwork. He's lost his passport, one small object that decides whether the next door opens or stays sealed. The tunnels don't just test bravery, they test bureaucracy. And bureaucracy doesn't care if the world is ending. Hansa controls the ring line with strict border rules, and Artyom tries to win his way through by entering a rat race. It's humiliating, men leaning over a crude track, betting like this is entertainment instead of desperation. Artyom fails, and the failure lands heavier than he expects. Because it isn't just money he loses. It's the last illusion that effort guarantees progress. After the failed gamble, Artyom is taken into custody, another reminder that movement is a privilege, not a right. But desperation makes people inventive, and the metro is full of cracks for someone willing to bleed to fit through them. He escapes into maintenance passages and narrow gaps that smell like rust and old water. He keeps running, not because he's fearless, but because standing still feels like dying on schedule. In the metro, escape is a form of prayer. Somehow, Artyom reaches Polis, the underground capital, where soldiers, scholars, and leaders pretend the world can be managed. He delivers Hunter's warning to Melnik of the Spartan Order, and a council gathers to decide what to do about the Dark Ones. The hall is grand by metro standards, but the air still tastes like dust. Power listens carefully, then asks for more time. And time is the one thing VDNKH doesn't have. Polis refuses to intervene. Not because the threat is imaginary, but because every station is already spending tomorrow to survive today. Artyom watches intelligent people do the cruel math of leadership and decide that risking themselves for others is too expensive. The capital chooses caution over compassion, and it does so politely. Sometimes, no, is spoken like wisdom. And sometimes it's just fear wearing better clothes. Then the Brahmins, the keepers of books and knowledge, approach Artyom with a bargain. They offer a path to stop the Dark Ones, but only if he helps recover a sacred book, and they claim he's psychically sensitive. Even salvation comes as a transaction underground. In the metro, knowledge is currency as real as bullets. And every deal has a shadow behind it. Artyom goes to the surface with Melnik and a young Brahmin named Daniel, and the world above feels like a museum of ruins. In a shattered library, mutated librarians attack, and Daniel is mortally wounded. With his last strength, he gives Artyom an envelope containing directions to a functioning missile silo, proof the old world's weapons still sleep nearby. The surface offers answers, but it charges blood. And the past never gives anything without taking something first. Back underground they reach Kievskaya, and Melnik leaves to gather reinforcements. While he's gone, Artyom becomes involved in searching for a missing child named Oleg. It's a smaller story beside the larger mission, but it hurts in a different way, because it's ordinary. In the metro, people don't only die in battles, they disappear in hallways. And every lost child feels like the future slipping farther away. Following the trail, Artyom and Oleg's father, Anton, are abducted by cannibals who worship the Great Worm. Hunger becomes religion, and religion becomes permission to do anything, as long as you call it sacred. The metro doesn't just breed monsters from outside, it remakes people from within. Scarcity turns morality into a luxury item. And in Torchlight, even horror can look like faith. Melnik returns with a squad and rescues them, and the wandering shifts into an operation. They escape into Metro 2, a hidden layer of tunnels built for power and secrecy, leading toward the missile site. The Metro reveals that it has depths even its survivors don't fully know. The past built a second Metro for war, and war is what it still wants. Some doors were designed to open only for violence. They pass through the station leading to the Moscow Kremlin, where a mutated bioweapon tries to hypnotize and consume them. Several die, including Oleg, before the team detonates a fuel tank to distract the creature long enough to escape. Artyom realizes the old world didn't only destroy itself, it left booby traps behind for anyone unlucky enough to inherit the ruins. The metro preserves history in the worst way. It keeps killing people with yesterday's inventions. The group splits, most head to the missile silo, while Artyom climbs to Ostankino Tower to provide targeting coordinates. On the way, he sees VDNKH nearly overrun, and the site hits like a punch, home becoming a memory while he's still alive to watch it. At the tower, he marks the Dark One's hive, and only then understands the terrible truth: they were trying to make contact, not wage war. Their attacks were a failed attempt at communication. But the missiles fall anyway, and the sky answers with fire. Artyom survives with the one thing that can't be traded or spent: the knowledge that humanity may have destroyed its last chance to become something better. If you like this video, consider subscribing for more.